hurricane, you could be signing up for emergency alerts. Sign up at alertsarasotacounty.com today!
Welcome to the brand new Northport Podcast Network. We're so excited to introduce you to our revamped lineup of shows, created to keep you connected, informed, and inspired about everything happening in our city.
That's right. With 3 unique shows under one network, there's something for everyone.
First up is Northport Now. Madison and I will rotate hosting this fast-paced, news-driven podcast to bring you the latest city updates, event previews, and important information, all in one quick listen.
Think of it as your weekly guide to staying in the know about what's happening in Northport.
Next, we have Northport Stories. Laura and I will share heartfelt and inspiring tales from around our community, stories that showcase the people, places, and moments that make our city special.
And don't worry, Voices of Northport isn't going anywhere. I'll continue bringing you even more personal stories and interviews with residents who shaped our city.
And last but not least, Northport Living. Cody and I will also rotate hosting this show, which is all about tips, events, and lifestyle ideas to help you make the most of life right here in Northport.
Whether you're looking for family-friendly activities, ways to get involved, or helpful home and garden tips, Northport Living has you covered.
With breaking news, heartfelt stories, or practical tips, the Northport Podcast Network is your go-to source for all things Northport.
Make sure to subscribe to the Northport Podcast Network wherever you listen, and join us as we celebrate and connect with our amazing community.
Northport Now will be released bi-weekly.
Northport Stories and Living will be monthly.
A schedule will be available on social media and our website.
Hello everyone, Devon Poulos here, Aquatics Manager. Welcome to my crib. We have fun here at the crib, programs included. Become a pass member, play all year long. Here at the crib, we do have rules. We take all payments here at the crib, Apple Pay, MasterCard, Visa, cash. You pay right here to enjoy the crib. So enter through the gate, child-proof, most adult-proof. Shade. What's that? Our newly installed sunshade available for rent all season long. Here at my crib, you don't have to worry about a place to find a seat. We've added more chairs than ever here at the crib. You're coming to enjoy the cribs and you got little ones, we got the perfect area for them, our Pelican Playground. Newly painted, fresh floor, fresh palm tree, it's looking clean. Looking for a place to work your upper body? Take a shot at here at our Stingray Shuffle. Looking to relax? I got you covered here with our Lazy River. Living more on the adventurous side? Check out the slides right behind me. Newly painted, all offer something individual and unique. Check it out. Check out the main pool, kept at a wonderful 84 degrees all year long. I just want you to have a good time. We have safety covered. Lifeguards here, staff, all day, every day when we're open for you to enjoy. Concession is open. Pizza, pretzels, nachos, ice cream, we got it all. My crib is your crib. Looking forward to seeing you here.
Duty to Devon.
Duty calls.
Hello, my name is Jerome Fletcher, City Manager of the City of Northport. I'm at the Northport Aquatic Center. I'm on the job today. Let's go. Jesse. Good morning, sir.
Nice to see you.
All right, thanks for having me today.
Of course, we're going to go through our opening checklist for this morning to make sure that the facility is safe and operational.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it. Before anything else, the team walks the entire area to make sure everything is clean and in good shape.
Our next part of our task is to make sure that our body of water is one, clear. The water must remain clean. We must identify any possible materials that shouldn't be in the water.
Then it was time to check the surge tanks.
As you can see the glistening of the water down there.
Right.
If the water is too deep and you hear a rushing of water, that means that this needs to be filled before we can begin operations for this.
Okay. It's part science, part intuition. At the Relaxahatchee River, Jesse showed me the digital checklist system, the Hydro app.
As soon as I click yes on this checklist, that let's say the water is clear,
Right.
and I do not identify that the water is cloudy or any sense, that yes goes directly to my manager and lets them know that at this exact time, I checked that water to make sure it was safe and clear.
This technology being used at its best.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
Now, our rotations, we have evolved to having our lifeguards into a more of a roving position. With the competition pool, we still maintain the chairs for the height eligibility. But here, we have to have a minimum of 5 lifeguards just to run this body of water.
Wow.
Evening. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 at 6 p.m. We're in the city chambers and I call this city commission regular meeting to order. Commissioners present are Commissioner Duval, Commissioner Stokes, Mayor Emmerich, Vice Mayor Langdon, and Commissioner Petro. There is a quorum present for this meeting. Also present are City Manager Fletcher, City Attorney Felino, Deputy City Clerk Powell, Board Specialist Lindner, Police Chief Garrison, and Fire Chief Titus are in the back. I am requesting that all commissioners, public participants, and staff maintain order and decorum throughout this meeting. City Commission Policy 2021-03 states that attendees shall refrain from engaging in personal attacks, boisterous, immaterial, inflammatory, obscene, profane, or disorderly conduct. Additionally, meeting attendees must refrain from obscene, profane, and disorderly conduct, including hand clapping, yelling, and similar demonstrations, all of which disturbs the peace and good order of this meeting. Thank you. I'm going to call on Commissioner Stokes to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Need a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Stokes to approve the agenda. That was seconded by Vice Mayor. If there's nothing to that, please vote. That passes 5-0. City Clerk, public comment?
Sure, so we'll start out with e-comments. Stephanie Gibson, on or around April 24th, Mayor Pete Emmerich posted on his personal Facebook page a vile statement that directly targeted critics and participants in community discussion groups. Specifically, Northport City Concerns. He referred to them as part of the See You Next Tuesday Sisters Club, a crude, derogatory, and misogynistic euphemism for the C word. He went on accusing concerned residents of having the mentality of a 12-year-old, bullying, lying, or being downright POS. Many of our group members see this as aimed at residents who raise legitimate concerns about city operations, transparency, water billing, development decisions, and accountability. The real divide and hatefulness in our community is coming from City Hall, not from residents exercising our First Amendment rights. We have seen this pattern before, Postergate, where city resources and conduct were called into question without meaningful accountability. We witnessed Commissioner Stokes cussing and crinkling papers to drown out Commissioner Petro during a recent meeting, with the mayor struggling to maintain order. Now we have the ceremonial mayor publicly labeling constituents with this vulgar slur simply for daring to speak out. We are entitled to hold and pursue our political views even if they don't align with City Hall. Public officials swear an oath to serve impartially, not to insult and silence those they disagree with. Using vulgar, gendered insults in response to constituent feedback undermines participation and proves exactly why residents feel City Hall has become toxic. Northport needs less gaslighting and more leaders who model the maturity, fairness, and accountability they demand from the community.
I'd like to respond to that, City Clerk.
Okay.
This public comment is a typical Ms. Gibson narrative for posts on Northport City Concerns, which she is an administrator. Now for the facts. It was a generalized post on my private page. I did not share it to her page or mention that page specifically or any members of that group. It was a post entitled, How to Become a Keyboard Warrior. An example, it is simply satire. It was a 10-step plan showing how to achieve that goal. Someone posted it on that site, hoping to achieve their main directive, the ultimate gotcha moment. I'm guessing Ms. Gibson, after reading it, realized she was checking multiple boxes throughout that post and became triggered. Could be a lot of that group did as well. Ms. Gibson preaches gaslighting comes from City Hall. How? By informing citizens the facts and truth about upcoming situations and policies. Just go to that site and judge for yourself. Just look how much hate, name-calling, misinformation, gaslighting, bullying against one person who is currently running for City Commission District 4, my wife, Elaine Ellen Emmerich, and it is repeatedly allowed by the admins, Stephanie Gibson and Debbie McDowell. Group rules straight from their page. Number 1, be kind and courteous. Number 2, no hate speech or bullying. Bullying of any kind is not allowed. Hateful comments towards one another will not be tolerated. I guess it's allowed and encouraged when it fits the admin's narrative because they chime right into the conversations, never reprimanding anything that is being posted. So I guess I am not entitled to the same First Amendment rights that they claim to have as well. Thank you. Go on, City Clerk.
Okay. Next one is Cheryl Cook. I appreciate the Chair's reminder regarding Decorum and Commission Policy 2021-03, particularly the prohibition against personal attacks, inflammatory remarks, and disorderly conduct. Earlier this year, a public commenter used this forum to make false and defamatory statements about me personally. Those remarks relied in part on media reporting containing inaccurate claims that can be disproven through official city meeting videos and public records. My concern is not about disagreement or criticism. Public participation is important and should remain protected. However, the city's standards of civility and decorum should be applied consistently to everyone participating in these meetings. I am also concerned by the statement that rather than using public records requests, individuals need to attend meetings to know what is happening. Public access to government information should not depend solely on physical attendance. Residents may rely on public records, remote access, or accommodations in order to participate fully in civic affairs. The City of Northport's human rights commitments and public conduct standards should ensure that all residents are treated fairly and respectfully during public proceedings. I respectfully ask the Commission to apply Policy 2021-03 consistently regardless of who is speaking or who is being discussed, and to ensure that public participation remains accessible, factual, and respectful for all residents. Next one is from AV. As anonymous Northport resident and taxpayer formally complain about a toxic, unprofessional environment at City Hall, certain elected officials and hired staff exhibit a spiraling pattern of behavior that must be addressed before anything else. Double standards on decorum. Officials rigidly enforce decorum rules and profanity bans on citizens while violating them themselves. The mayor and commissioners have used profanities during meetings, holding citizens to a higher standard than leadership. City manager's conduct. The city manager showed no remorse for failing to display the U.S. flag per the U.S. flag code, prioritizing a foreign flag instead. He reportedly treats his temporary office as personal domain rather than public property. Citizens raising these issues faced veiled threats of counter lawsuits, chilling free speech, intimidation, and retaliation. Commissioner Stokes and Langdon, Mayor Pete Emmerich, and his wife Elaine Emmerich have engaged in or encouraged intimidation. They leverage online groups to foster harassment, doxing, fake accounts, bullying, and disinformation to silence critics. labeling residents as haters, including accrued "See You Next Tuesday" haters club. Reference constitutes a direct attempt to discredit and isolate constituents, raising serious civil rights concerns. Specific incidents and government failures. Commissioner Stokes used profane language toward Commissioner Petro during public meetings. Sharing public records of these events triggered character assassination. Furthermore, sending unsolicited mandatory water connection letters to hundreds of property owners without proper commission approval demonstrates a lack of transparency and suggests taxation without representation. Order an independent investigation into these allegations of hostility and misuse of authority. Provide a written response outlining actions to restore professionalism and respect for the flag code. Northport deserves integrity, not bullying. Fifi versus Coffeegate. Next one is David Ionati. Regarding the conversation easement at War Mineral Springs, I am writing in support of the original plan voted for on September 10th, 2024, unanimously approved by all commissioners. I'm not sure why time and time again when we get close to doing the right thing at War Mineral Springs, someone decides to do the wrong thing. Before the city and the county jointly purchased War Mineral Springs, it had a great restaurant on site and a spa. The point is these amenities existed in the existing footprint. The conservation easement will allow for new non-destructive recreational activities as well. Please do not derail the plan which was voted for unanimously by Commission on September 10, 2024. Do not alter the 60 acres of conservation easement. Next one is concerned resident. Hello, Commission Board. I'm a concerned longtime resident of our city. I just want to put on a spot Commissioner Phil Stokes, who clearly stated that the board should not be reaching into citizens' pockets at the last special meeting, yet a few minutes later he proposed to create a special Parks and Rec district. What a contradiction. Same Commissioner Phil Stokes said that the city only retains 25 cents on the dollar and the rest goes to the county and Sarasota County School District. Whether ad valorem or not ad valorem, those are the taxes/fees we, the citizens, pay to the city, and to say that only 25 cents is retained by the city of Northport is completely inaccurate and false. About 50 cents of my taxes, whether ad valorem or not ad valorem, is retained by the city. That's the fact. Whatever you call it, fees, district fees, or tax, around 50 cents stays in the city. So let's be clear about that. Same commissioner never apologized to Commissioner Petro when Commissioner Stokes kept interrupting Commissioner Petro, showing his tantrum and swearing. I appreciate Commissioner Petro asking simple questions publicly so we can learn and be aware of what goes on in the city. The board has to realize that we, the public, do not attend your one-on-one meetings, so we only learn and stay informed by watching and attending the meetings. Commissioner Langdon has to realize that as well, and I bet she didn't have the answers to the same questions Petro was asking the city manager. The city manager couldn't even answer them all on the spot. So yes, we need you commissioners ask staff and city managers questions publicly. Commissioner Stokes suggested that Petro needs to hold town halls to inform his constituents. And yes, that would be a good idea with the exception of what do you get paid for then if you interrupt each other and not allow each other ask questions at public meetings such as this. This is what you're being paid for. You are the board, represent the people. Okay, next one is from Elaine Emmerich. Commissioners, prior to Facebook, when one ran for office, critics attended forums and asked if candidates read the budget, prepared for meetings, and could make cuts. It's totally different now. If a select group doesn't want you in, they call you a scumbag, demonic, a dirtbag, a pot stirrer, and a liar, even if they've never met you. They spread misinformation, rumors, and mischaracterizations of anything you've done to help others. They put my water bill account number online as a gotcha moment without ever having a conversation with me about an old online billing system glitch. It's done as freedom of speech, which has nothing to do with a difference in opinions over issues. They make the candidate the issue and confuse their right to criticize one's job performance and voting record with personal attacks, which can lead to violence. There's no room for issues when they have pitchforks and incite people into a frenzy. Then they get defensive when called out and say they are concerned citizens. They call anyone who defends the truth a bootlicker. I don't condone bad behavior from anyone. These relentless online attacks show those considering running that they must endure character assassinations without any competent evidence. Many say that the personal attacks aren't worth it. The city doesn't allow them. Facebook administrators shouldn't either. It's their job to follow the platform's rules. When ignored, it sends a message of how harmful it is to run for office to those who just want a fair chance to make a difference. On Sunday, a woman called me. She was crying. She said, "Elaine, why do Northport City Concerns page administrators allow someone with a fake profile to call you demonic? Why were they allowed such an untruthful, made-up post?" She asked how the administrator of that page plans on having an unbiased candidate form in July if she participates in these posts. I thanked her. We prayed, and I said my motto is to give to others until it hurts, and then give some more. It hurts. Okay, that is all for e-comments. Now, in person, we have Debbie Blackwell.
How in the world are you? Discover the warm mineral springs of neighborly Northport, Florida. With commitment to the conservation of the real Florida's natural beauty, the Warm Mineral Springs Wellness Park offers an incredible bird watching experience on our 60 acres of natural Florida landscape gardens. Take a relaxing soak in the only geothermally heated warm spring in Florida. The water temperature is a constant 85 degrees, filled with 51 minerals for your body to absorb. I think you all need to go there. Relax in a yoga session surrounded by songs of nature. Wind down with a lavish, relaxing massage at the on-site spa after a long ride on your bike on the famous Florida Legacy Trail that is connected to the park. A deliciously Florida dining experience awaits in the Warm Mineral Springs Cracker Cafe. A Florida cowboy burger, a grilled grouper sandwich, chocolate-covered Florida strawberries, freshly squeezed Florida orange juice, and a key lime pie cookie, the state cookie. Take an unforgettable Warm Springs glamping overnight stargazing experience from one of our 6 Seminole chicky huts. The Warm Mineral Springs Ecotourism Therapy and Florida History destinations only 30 minutes from Punta Gorda Airport, 3 miles from the Myakka River and Myakka State Forest in neighborly Northport, Florida. On another note, sometimes less is more, which is the case at the Warm Mineral Springs. 15 acres is more than enough to create a Condé Nast quality ecotourism destination, not 20 acres. Horsing around. Triple Crown's just been, and the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness races. I think of our fantastical team in the Parks and Recreation Department. Opening the starting gates and let them out to run in the race to come up from behind in the creation of this ecotourism destination. Give them the tools they need, like sharing the bush hogs to push back the non-natives surrounding the healing waters. Stop lollygagging. And remember to treat others the way you want to be treated by them. Good night and good luck.
Robin San Vicente.
Good evening, all. I'm gonna read because I don't want my passion to get the best of me. You all know how I feel about Warm Mineral Springs. So I'm looking at the options that are gonna be presented to you tonight, and I'm wondering, where is the original 2019 master plan in all of this, which was fully vetted? The September 10th meeting, there were motions made as far as getting a Selby Gardens. But as I'm looking at all of that motion, the key words are to explore the possibility and identify. Okay, that's not shall or must. That's to look at it and see how what we're trying to do fit in with the original master plan. At the May 27th, 25 meeting, it was decided that instead of the 12 acres, we were going to increase it to 20 acres. Now, it keeps looking that we're all continuing to try to carve into Warm Mineral Springs. And I understand the discussions that were had as far as carving out an area so you can do your little commercial activities there. However, in the attachments to this particular meeting, that original master plan should have been there for comparison's sake. Because on the original master plan, the carve-out area on option 2, which is 15 acres, actually is where the parking lot, the overflow was going to go, the event and the market area was going to go. And we discussed food trucks and everything to have in that area. So I'm wondering, what is it being carved out for when the plan, 2019 plan specifically states that's where the parking lot and the overflow is going. So in the exclusionary areas, I'm going to first ask why, number one, we're being presented with two options when we only wanted to do 20. If we look at option A, you can forget about it because in no way is that going to represent the adopted 2019 final master plan and its components that are set forth in that plan. It's totally unacceptable to the citizenry. Additionally, it looks like half of the area is color-coded as conservation, which it can't be if it's clearly defined as exclusionary. Should this area be included as a color blue? Definitely not two, because it doesn't make sense. Option B is a better representation of the adopted 2019 final master plan as it relates to the parking, event, plaza, and market area. However, again, it is color-coded wrong because it's got two colors. In both of these options, you have to consider, again, the 2019 final master plan, which clearly defines the parking area along with event, plaza, market area that is located within the delineated exclusion area. Regarding identifying a section.
Your time is up.
Oh, my time's up? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll come back again.
Well, we got the item coming up later, so you
Yeah,
can
I
speak.
know. Thank you.
Joseph Majorino.
Joseph Majorino, 2747 Rebel Lane. Here's the problem, Pete. You want everybody to be nice to you. Your wife just said blank bag. Wait a second. Your wife just said blank bag. Did she not? Yes. Okay. But that was okay. Now you want to look at her comment. You better look at her comment. Okay. So now here's another thing. Your buddy, and I'm going to say your buddy because he told me he is, Dan Rawlings, had a conversation with him. He doesn't like this shirt. He says I'm racist because we have a black city manager. He came after me. Then when we told him that we have 6 African Americans in our family, he tripped over his tongue. He also told me that we're 2 trucks coming at each other, and I better stop because there's a lot of money up there. Is that a threat? Because go ahead, let him threaten me. I don't care. You want to know what? I don't care. You think I'm aligning? I heard I'm sitting there, I'm aligning with these people online. I haven't talked to Stephanie Gibson in 5 years, but you want to know what? You're an elected official. She runs a site. There's the difference right there. Elected officials are expected to be above. You're your own worst enemy. You got that boot in your mouth, you keep shoving it further and further down. I don't understand why. I'd just shut up if I were you. Years past, where your regular page was fair game. It was all public record. You think it's, and I asked him, and he said, your see you next Tuesday comment? What do you care? He's only got 6 months left. You had a motorcycle accident. He had a 6-way bypass. Didn't you have your come to Jesus moment? Didn't you think that sometime maybe somebody gave you a second chance and you're wasting it? You didn't think about that. You just care about you and your pocket. And you want to know why everybody's climbing on your wife? Well, you know, she says one thing. When she gets caught, she switches. And she switches again. It's the same old, same old. People want change. I'm glad that there's somebody running against Mr. Stokes now. That's actually somebody who has experience. I'm glad, you know, and it's true. The bullying is absolutely true. Another resident that supposedly is a fake, I want to see it, has an email from him apparently that he's going to sue her for defamation. I don't know if it's true. Let me see that one and we'll see what happens. This is ridiculous. This is a joke. You should start actually respecting residents. I'm sorry. Disgusting.
Valdi Oleander.
Good evening. I am Valdi Olander. I come here in peace, and I am not a criminal. And I have a dignity, and my dignity is not to anyone to interpret. I am instructing you to remove policemen off my back, remove this threat. Move him 90 degrees here. He likes my bald spot. Stop bullying. Obey your oath. Still, I see no authority for each agenda. You have an attorney office, 9 people working there. He's so busy. Northport Charter, a preamble reads, it is the electorate, community, and voters' plan of the municipal government. Not the manager, not the attorney, not you, not the city employee. Read it. On April 21st, 2026, manager asked Duval how Duval would pay for improvements on facilities. Duval didn't know. To you all, visit page 5 or 19 on PDF of the 2024 CAF, which is Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. There is a balance of $220,700,618. If you don't know what it means, call Molden and Jenkins LLC, who do the audits of finances of the city of Northport, or any CPA to verify what I just said. Money called capital flows around the world all the time, seeking investments. To benefit us all, like people in the government here, capital must come from outside. If you bond tax people here for your projects, stagflation will occur. Stagflation is when the growth is stalled while cost of living rises. You give an attorney Fuino $5,000. He can even understand borrowing powers. Why are you giving us this money? Why there is no updates on employee and their salary? Does information technology didn't get paid?
Tim Doyle.
I received this paper under Freedom of Information Act. It's the MOA, or MOU, with flock cameras. Every time I go to church, you are following me. Now let's look at this contract you have with flock. Agency's desires to access flock technology performed by flock safety dashboard for investigation purposes in order to view, search photos and videos recorded by flock with my money on your property, which are stored for no longer than 30 days, utilize software, blah, blah, blah. They store this stuff at Amazon Cloud. They may get rid of it after 30 days. It never disappears because it's in the Amazon Cloud. So this contract is BS. Ownership, okay, ownership. I'm paying for the cameras, ownership. As between the parties, subject to the rights granted by this MOU, Flock and its licensors retain all right, title, and interest in and to Flock services and its components and any recordings or data, blah, 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 blah. Then it goes, agency further acknowledges that Flock retains the right to use the foregoing for any purpose in Flock's sole discretion. There are no implied rights. You are recording everybody in this city. You are paying for it. Flock is recording it. They are selling our information, selling our license plates, selling our pictures. They are on Amazon Cloud. I'm telling you, you're going to get more letters on this. And your lawyer better start reading up. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to want this information. And under the law, this has already been in court. The towns have to turn it over. Anybody who files a Freedom of Information Act on those cameras, you have to turn it over. According to this contract, you can't do it. And in the cities that people took it to court, you know what the cities did? They got rid of the flock cameras. is it is spying, 100%. You're spying through your parks department, you're spying on the corners of this city. And this is BS. And the American people are getting mad. And Brett Baer is on the news. Well, I'm in China. Look at all these cameras. I got a parking ticket in 1 minute. What are you doing? I got more papers right there. I only got 3 minutes. So I don't know how many meetings it's going to take me to get through this documentation. But I'm telling you, everybody in the city better learn about these flock cameras and what these people are doing to us. Spying us at the parks, spying us on the street, spying us going to church.
Talk English?
Yeah. Good evening. I hope you're having a blessed one. I'm going to start with the easy part. Warm Mineral Springs. There's been individuals dedicated to that 2019 plan from day one. Your vote on the 24th, right, was a solid vote to adhere to that plan. I simply ask you to do one thing. Follow the plan, please, right? Debbie said 15 acres is good. Okay. Now that was the easy one. Oh, and Miss Vincent, she's given you the roadmap to where you should be going, as she has done on many occasions. She stands up here and puts forth solutions, okay? Please understand that not everybody is not putting forth solutions. It's whether they're accepted or not. Okay, now, social media. I am an avid, well, actually, I only spend probably 2 hours, maybe 3 hours on my phone viewing that stuff, where other people spend all day, all right? And I try to filter out the superfluous bovine feces that's involved in it and seek out what the concern is. And in every conversation, if you're willing to separate the rhetoric from the concern, you may find a solution. And Pete, you know, okay? I've known you and Elaine for a very long time. Y'all better get rid of the animosity and start sitting down with some of these people that are trying to give you solutions and talk to each other, just like I've chatted with probably a lot of you over coffee at Panera. Thank you. Oh, blessed evening.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to announcements, City Clerk.
The current vacancies for the following boards and committees include Art Advisory Board, Auditor Selection Committee, Charter Review Advisory Board, Citizen Tax Oversight Committee, Community Economic Development Advisory Board, Debt Management Committee, Environmental Advisory Board, Historic and Cultural Advisory Board, Joint Management Advisory Board, Police Officers Pension Trust Fund Board of Trustees, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, Planning and Zoning Advisory Board, one resident of Northport to serve on the Sarasota-Manatee Metropolitan Planning Organization Citizen Advisory Committee, one resident of Northport to serve on the Citizens Oversight Committee for School Facility Planning. If anyone would like more information, please see the City Clerk's office. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. City Manager, any items been pulled?
Yes, sir. One, Mr. Mayor. Item E, 26-0607.
All right. Any public comment on consent, sir?
Tim Doyle.
There's several things, there's a couple topics I want to talk about. You got the fuel gas charge, I think we are on it already, but you got two of them on here to vote for 5 or 6 cents. Like I said, you're going to need money to get rid of property tax, so I'm not going to sit here and ridicule you for putting a tax on the gas. I think you should, because that's a more fair tax. But I do have a problem with the gas tax. All these electric cars are driving around this city. I have to pay a tax, and that goes, you know, my state, my federal gas tax, and these gas tax goes to fix roads, and these electric cars aren't paying anything to fix the roads. How much was it the last time it cost you to fix the roads in this city? You guys way overspent. So 5 and 6 cents, I don't know which one you're gonna go with, but I don't know why the electric cars aren't being charged. The other thing on here is finally someone noticed that Northport's the most populated city in this county, because on the tax we're getting what, 19.748, and Sarasota is only getting 11. How come we get nothing else from the county? They spend all their money down in Sarasota, down there. They don't spend anything here. I want you to make sure you get every single penny from that county, as this county's ripping us off blind. We're the highest populated highest populated city in the county, and we do not get our justice from the county whatsoever. Now here on I, approval award for the bid for new guns for the police department. I'm not going to say anything on that. They need the guns, they're trading, and the old ones are getting new ones. That's fine. My problem with it is I don't see any shotguns. Who's going to shoot down the drones with a lock? You need a shotgun. And I'm not worried about Cuba. I'm worried about the other people we blew up that are in this country, 10 million of them. We don't have any sirens to let us know the drones are coming, do we? I've been preaching about that for forever. I think every police vehicle should have at least a shotgun in there. A good one. And they should be well trained on how to shoot it. They should have bird shot. Try to take down these drones. A slug won't work. This is the new world we live in. We got Scott, we got Trump blowing up all the countries all around the world. Every day you hear your texts on social media, they said this and that. That makes me less safe. I'm sorry. I want to see shotguns in every single car.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to request a motion.
I'll make it.
Go ahead.
I move to approve the items in the consent agenda with item E 26-0607 being pulled for discussion.
Have a motion on the floor made by Vice Mayor to approve the consent agenda, pulling item E 26-0607 for discussion. That was made by the Vice Mayor and seconded by Commissioner Stokes. If there's nothing to that, please vote. That passes 5-0. City Manager, who pulled item E for discussion?
I did.
But because it was pulled for discussion?
I would leave it to the city manager to determine what the timeline would look like, or what, if you need a motion for further direction on it, the item.
I'm not sure I can determine that.
I'm not worried about a timeline. I'm just worried about, do you need a motion to bring it back, or you're just going to bring it back?
No, we don't need a motion to bring it back.
All right, that's all I needed. Thank you. Moving on. General business. Item number 26-0665. City Manager, this is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item is discussion and possible action regarding the revised general terms and selection of a parcel map option to facilitate development of a conservation easement between the City of Northport and Big Waters Land Trust Incorporated for a portion of the Warm Middle Springs Park property located at 12200 San Servando Avenue in Northport, Florida 34287. I will turn it over to Parks and Rec Director, Ms. Sandy Funheller, for introduction.
Thank you. For the record, Sandy Funheller, Parks and Recreation Director. So during the May 27th, 2025, just about a year ago, commission meetings, we presented a draft general terms document to support the development of a conservation easement on property located at Warm Mineral Springs Park. In conjunction and in response to prior commission direction, a 12-acre exclusion area was proposed to be removed from the conservation easement to support the future trailhead, pedestrian bridge, and a 10,000 square foot building site to support a holistic health center. While Commission generally supported the terms document, there were questions related to funding for invasive species removal, and direction was given to increase the exclusion area to 20 acres. Over the past year, city staff and representatives from Big Waters Land Trust and Gulf Coast Community Foundation have worked together to identify funding for the invasive species removal and within the proposed conservation easement, and determine the best approach for configuration of a 20-acre exclusion area. As reflected in the updated general terms document that is attached to this item, $115,000 in coastal and heartland natural estuary partnership funding has been identified for year 1 of the invasive species removal, with an additional $50,000 coming from Gulf Coast Community Foundation to support year 2 and 3. Provided there is agreement with the updated general terms document, staff will incorporate this into a draft conservation easement and submit for legal review. Also included for review today is a parcel map option A showing a 20-acre exclusion area, and parcel map option B showing an alternative 15-acre exclusion area. The alternative 15-acre exclusion area is being recommended to reduce the impact to high-value ecological areas and avoid documented archaeological occurrences that are on the site. Staff are seeking approval of the revised exclusion area, either the 15 or the 20, to confirm agreement on its specific location within the property prior to proceeding with the formal lot split survey that will be required. I have graphics that you can look at the original 12-acre carve-out that was proposed, the option A that's in your packet, and the option B that's the 15 acres. And the colored shading on here is showing the zoning of those areas. We do have representatives from Big Waters Land Trust and Gulf Coast Community Foundation here that are ready to speak to the item, as well as myself and staff from Development Services. With that, I can answer questions.
I got one real quick before I open it up to the other commissioners. On this carve out for the trailhead, how many acres is that?
The trailhead would be within the carve out. So whether you go with the 15 or the 20.
How many acres do you need for the trailhead?
Trish Sturgis, Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation. So the trailhead restroom itself, 1,600 square feet, and the parking associated with that is about 3,000 square feet, so it works out to less than 2 acres.
Okay, less than 2 acres. So if we settled at 15 acres, then it's still 13 acres, taking out the 2 acres. I just wanted that math, that's all.
Thanks.
Okay, commissioners, Commissioner Duvall.
Thank you, Mayor. Sandy mentioned meeting, and there was a change from the 12-acre cutout to 20 acres. The vote on that was 4-1, and I believe that I was the one. And the reason I voted no was I didn't agree with increasing that cutout. Since then, staff has come up with an option A and an option B. And the option B is 15 acres. And that 15 acres, from the background material I read, was because staff looked at hydrological factors to try to protect the springs. So therefore, I will be supporting option B. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question on the agreement. Item 2E, it talks about maintenance and enhancement of natural habitats, et cetera, in accordance with an approved management plan. How will this management plan be developed and by whom?
The management plan would be developed with the oversight of Natural Resources Division, and it would include both stakeholders and Parks and Recreation as well.
Thank you. That's all, Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner Petro.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question on so I concur with Commissioner Duval and everything he said. So your logic is it was increased from 12 to 15 because of the trailhead that is needed, that 2 acres or less than 2 acres. Is that the logic that it went up?
What we were showing was that we originally proposed 12 acres, which at the time we felt was sufficient to accommodate the trailhead, the pedestrian bridge, and a 10,000 square foot building of whatever development would come for that site with the shared parking that's already there. The direction given was 20 acres, so we've done that in option A, and we felt like bringing back option B with 15 acres made sense because it avoids some of the hydrological characteristics on the site that we don't want to impede upon, and it also avoids archaeological occurrences that are documented on the site.
Okay. That's all for now. Thank you.
Commissioner Stokes.
Yeah, thank you. Sam, is it possible that we can, I listened to some of the public comments here, and part of the concern when I read the draft of the conservation agreement, part of my sensitivity is, because I do support conserving this land, that there's enough flexibility in what uses can go on the conserved portion to tie it more into that 2019 plan. There was, my fear is that if it isn't spelled out word by word in this agreement, then down the road, we all collectively may have some problem doing some very passive recreational kind of things that may not have been included. And I would love to know if there's a way to work this language in this agreement a little better to reference that 2019 agreement and the amenities that were proposed there, because they were all relatively low impact, and it gives us a little bit more flexibility when it comes to what we can do on that 60. I mean, the idea is we accept the realities that we want to protect. I hope we do, that we want to protect this 60 acres. But I would hate for future commissions and staff to look at this and say, gee, I wish we could have done this, I wish we could do that. It's low impact, it wouldn't affect the springs, wouldn't affect the property, but we can't do it because it's not included. So I would hope that there could be a bit of a rework on some of the language, and somehow the lawyers could find a way to work this language so that there was more flexibility here, because I really do feel that we're going to end up excluding things and down the road be sorry we did. And so, I just throw that out there. Hopefully between this draft and a future draft or final, we can come up with something here.
So if I can clarify, the general terms document is not the conservation easement. It has not received legal review. We are not there yet. This is a high-level document so that we can go to legal review in knowing that Commission has a general consensus of agreement to the terms that are on this sheet. And then I would call your attention to Section 4, permitted uses, item C, where it does have the right to develop, construct, repair, remove, improve, and maintain a recreational trail system and park elements as conceptually shown on April 2019 War Mineral Springs Park Final Master Plan and similar enhancements thereto. So I believe we have addressed that in this document.
The only other comment is, can we pull up the picture of the map, but A or B, it doesn't really matter to me. I guess, yeah, do the next one, B, the other one, the 20 acre. Yeah. Oh, there it is, okay, I'm sorry.
A, B, and C right there.
So we got the dotted lines here, is that the stream?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, so you really can't go beyond, okay. I was wondering if where there's concern hydrologically, up where, that extra 5 acres, so to speak, could we have redesigned it and brought it out across that stream? But it probably doesn't make sense to do that. All right. You know, again, my only comment is the same concern. 10,000 square feet, you know, if it's adequate, it's adequate. If it's not, I mean, I guess the reality will be that, you know, if we all collectively vote here and the consensus is to go to the 15 instead of the 20, potentially the opportunity to do certain things that may be amenities that, you know, the participants and the residents who utilize this facility will say, gee, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? And we can't do it because we don't have enough square footage. We don't have enough acreage to do it. So, you know, if there's environmental concerns over that extra 5 acres, then it is what it is. If that's the case, then I can understand that. But you know, to me, I just want to make sure we have enough flexibility in this plan, because I absolutely support this. And I just want it to be done right, once and for all. Let's get this done and get it done the right way so we can clean this springs up and draw people into this 60 acres that haven't enjoyed it, that nobody's enjoyed it. And I, you know, as one public commenter said, this is like taking forever and ever and ever and ever.
So just, I just want to, for comparison purposes, and I've mentioned this before, 15 acres is what Selby Gardens is. So I really do think it will serve the purpose that you want it to. And we have parking there that will serve not only Warm Mineral Springs, but that parking could then serve whatever that developed area is.
All of Selby's footprint's 15, huh? Pretty cool, okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Can you pull that picture down, because I can't see the complete bottom of option B? I want to see what the difference is between A and B. Where I'm looking at it, it looks pretty much exactly the same picture.
You see?
I'm not seeing the difference between 20 acres and 15 acres.
It doesn't go as up as high.
Doesn't go up as high.
But, and where exactly would the trailhead go?
So the trailhead is closer to the front, where the street that comes in, I can't remember what the street name is, I can't read it. There's a street that you can see on the left side that right now just dead ends in front of Warm Mineral Springs. That street will come, that roadway, we will have an entrance right there that's coming into the property, and the trailhead will be just off of that towards the front.
Okay.
The trail is actually going to follow the edge of the property along and up.
So if in this proposed 15 acres, if we go from the 20 acres to the 15 acres, it's going to be a true 15 acres, and it's not going to include the trailhead minusing 2 acres.
No, it will include the trailhead.
Okay, so is there a way, and this is what I'm looking at here, if you take the 2 acres out, because then we would still have a true 15 acres. Instead of going up to the 20 acres, you would come up a little bit. I'm looking at a compromise here to where the trailhead is taken care of, and there's still 15 acres there for what we decided to carve 20 out for, but we're gonna sacrifice 5 acres.
We can certainly do anything that commission directs us to. My concern is, and without putting them on the map and advertising them, there are archaeological occurrences that are in the property as you get in the 20 acre, that would be impeding on those.
So is it of those scenarios that you're talking about, is that on this map between the 15 and the 20 acres in that area?
Approximately.
Okay, because what I'm saying is if we could stretch it out a little bit here and there, that's all I'm looking at as a compromise. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Of the carve-out areas, how much of it is parking? So it looks like about half of the 15-acre carve-out.
No, it's actually 12,000 square feet, and if you look, what is not paved is actually when you see the colors on the smaller maps, those are actually the zoning colors. The area around the springs is 13 acres, and that is zone CE, conservation.
Yep.
Then the blue is what's called 7A, and that is actually the part with frontage along Triumpho that would be the most commercially desirable.
Where's the parking?
And the parking would be between that frontage and the.
So the parking is exactly where it is now, the paved parking.
But wouldn't we need to expand it?
No, we are not expanding the parking. It is going in the same footprint as the current parking lot. The expanded parking would come with the trailhead, where we would need specific parking to serve that, which is going to be towards the front of the property where that, I still can't see what that street name is.
So if you see where the orange section is on the map, that road that curves coming to the end, that road will extend and the trailhead will be immediately right there.
Now, going over to the right.
And I don't know if you heard me, Commissioner Langdon, but the existing parking lot is 12,000 square feet.
Okay. I have another question. In my research on Warm Mineral Springs, I understood that most of the archaeological finds, not finds, of the springs itself and the surrounding area were pretty much stripped when the property was privately owned. So my question is, I think Mayor asked about where that area was, where there were some finds. When did the last find occur?
This was from the Cultural Resource Survey that was previously done. It was referenced in the master plan, but it had previously been done. I don't have the date on it, but I will say that to say it's stripped, generally when there's historic artifacts on a site, they don't move very far. They're not going to be stripped out. They just did a cultural resource survey where they dug down in different holes to see what was on the property. So if you're talking about having an activity that's disturbing more area, where we would putting in a building and footers and doing more than just say maybe a trail, you may run into other artifacts. I can't say if you would or you wouldn't, but we know it's there and they generally do not move.
Well, but people dig them up and take them.
Yeah, I'm not aware that anybody's been out there digging except for the cultural resource survey that happened.
Well, we also had the homeless encampments out there for years, and
I
there was
understand.
really no supervision of anything on that.
No,
Not on
it's
the 23 acres. but
right,
the
it's
surrounding
undeveloped, it's not open to the public.
Area. Yeah, I would propose a compromise. I'm hearing 15 acres is acceptable to some, if not all, of my other fellow commissioners. I'm definitely a 20-acre gal, and I want that to be developable 20 acres. But as a compromise, I would be happy to say the 15 acres plus 2 acres for the trailhead, let's carve out 17 acres and be done with it. Can we bump up a couple more acres of that line on the map of the 15-acre proposal? I would think we could.
We can do anything that you ask for us to do.
That's what I would propose to my fellow commissioners.
Another
10,000
option, if you
square
want to.
feet. I mean, if we wanted to do a spa and a holistic health center and a healthy restaurant, let's say, 10,000 square feet is not sufficient.
Another option that you, commission may want to consider is breaking up the 15 acres. And if you wanted to do some more at the top of the property where there's also road access up here and not having it be contiguous, we could look at that as well.
Well, but I think the whole concept, at least in my head, about having those kinds of assets is that they would be together.
Mm-hmm.
So it would become a destination. People could do the springs, they could then go into the more commercial area for a massage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So once you start, divvying that out and spreading it out, it weakens sort of that destination feel for it. So if we
we
can
can
bump
look at
that line up a couple more acres, then I'll be very supportive. I am supportive of doing a conservation easement on a lot of this property. I do have a little bit of a concern, because in the language here, and I'm sorry I didn't highlight it, but it talks about restoring/maintaining habitat. I did have the opportunity to walk this property maybe 3 years ago with some conservationists and a representative of Florida Fish and Wildlife. And we were on a mission to find scrub jay habitat. And so we walked around, and I think we were sort of on that higher end, maybe just north of the springs, that area. And the representative from Florida Fish and Wildlife identified a very large area that looked as though at one time had been scrub jay habitat, but it hadn't been maintained, it hadn't been trimmed, and it was very much overgrown. And our purposes of going is that that organization had funds to help municipalities in the county and state, actually, to restore habitat. And so I asked him twice if this property would qualify, if the city of Northport should pursue funding to restore that area as a scrub jay habitat. And twice he kind of shook his head and said it would be very expensive. So I took that as a no. and I just want to be careful, because if we commit in this agreement to restore and maintain scrub jay habitat, for example, it could cost, and I have no idea how much, hundreds of thousands, $1 million, $2 million, I don't know. So I just want to really caution against that. And my underlying, I very much like the funding and maintenance plan. It was certainly better than our being in the rowboat by ourselves with one paddle. But I'm concerned about some of the underlying conditions that might make this proposal onerous for the city to live up to at some point in the future. So that's really my concern. And at least if I felt we had enough commercial development so that we could generate some economic benefit from this property, then, we would have taxes, we would have other kinds of things that would provide incremental revenue to help support these kind of things. But 10,000 square feet won't do it, and this could get very expensive depending upon how some of these terms are interpreted for the city to be able to manage.
So if I can first address the acreage, I just want to remind everybody that the parking lot that is there now and the parking lot that would be put in if we move forward with the Legacy Trail would also be parking lots that could serve any development that goes on there. Mm-hmm. So you're not having to account for that necessarily. There'll be different amounts needed, but you're not necessarily having to account for that because you already have it existing. And I would like to invite John Thaxton down to address the scrub jay comment, and also Christine Johnson, as they've been involved in this and we've been working with them. I think that they may have some input as well.
And again, I think what I'm driving at, if there's a provision in here that absolves the city from having to restore habitat, I would be comfortable with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Director Ray.
Elena Ray, Director of Development Services. I want to provide some clarification as far as what this proposed 15 acres can support from a land development intensity standpoint. We've talked about Selby Gardens, but when we're talking about the size of a building, I know originally it was asked, well, we want to make sure we could put a 10,000 square foot building on there. 10,000 square feet's less than a quarter of an acre in size. 15 acres can support the construction of a much, much larger development. I haven't figured out the calculation in my head, but if it's buildings that we're talking about, 15 acres can support a very intense development, to the point of you could have conference centers and a hotel. I mean, just from a land development standpoint, I'm not talking about that intensity here. I'm just saying what it can support is from a land standpoint.
I would really like to have a good estimate before we go to final agreement on this, exactly how many square feet of buildable area. And again, we have pretty strict regulations in terms of buffers and landscaping, so we have to take all that into account.
Right.
But I'd like to have a good sense that the 15-acre plan could support what I just described.
From a planning standpoint, as a professional planner, I can tell you that I cannot imagine us building a development that is so intense that it wouldn't fit on 15 acres. I can't conceive that for this land. But we can work on those numbers for you so
I
that.
would appreciate
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Thank you very much. I'm done, Mayor.
All right, Commissioner Petro.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. So as I understand, we're not talking about the actual agreement right now. We're talking about the carve-out scenario. Is that correct? So
We are talking about the general terms that would go into an agreement. So the language will be different because it will be an official conservation easement. But these are the main points, the business points that are going to go into that conservation easement. And then the parcel map, we need to, if we don't agree today, we will have to come back to you again because we are going to need to do a lot split survey before we can do the conservation easement. And that's why we need to agree where it's going to be configured on the property.
So if we do 15 acres, can we specify what is going to be in conservation easement, the acreages, how much the actual conservation easement, because we keep talking about 15, 12, 20. If we do 15, how much would be designated in the conservation easement? Is it 60 minus 15?
So when you look at what's there, the entire acreage is 82. So we have the 13 acres in the zone CE right now around the spring, the green.
I saw that.
Right? And so that would then, we would deduct the 13 and deduct the 15 from the total, and that's where we would be left.
And we'll specify how much exactly it's
Exactly. It would have to be in the agreement, exactly the acreage. 30 and split.
You can see that at the general terms document. At the top, it talks about what that acreage is. We just haven't filled it in because we haven't come to agreement on what that looks like.
Correct. I just want to specify that we should be also talking exact number of acres in the actual agreement. And so the carve-out area, if we do it, the intended purpose, will it be city-owned or will it be with an option to sell, or how it's going to?
It will be city-owned. If you chose to go that route, you would follow the procedures that are already set up for selling city property.
Okay. So we're not talking about intended use to sell it right now. Can we specify that it cannot be sold?
Are you talking about the carve-out?
Yes, correct.
Unless you all approved putting that up for sale, that's not going to happen.
No, that's why I wanted to protect, not to sell it. That's what I'm asking. Can we specify that for the carve-out acreages?
The purpose of the easement would be to show the portion of the land which would just be for conservation purposes. Everything else would retain for any other purpose. And I think what the director is saying, before you the math, is whether it's 15, 20, or whatever, nothing can happen to that unless you all decide on that. That's not something that you would put into the conservation easement because it wouldn't be an agreement between us, the city, and the land trust.
I understand that, yes. Another question I have is on parking. So the current parking, and on a good day, if you go there, people park on the grass, are we gonna have to pave it?
The current building renovation plan is to redo the parking as it exists on the same footprint.
What about the grass?
The grass parking will still be there until we further develop the property. The next phase would be if we move forward with the trailhead and the trail, there would have to be a parking area for that. So currently, the plan calls for 48 paved parking spaces, 6 of those ADA spots that will be in that same footprint as is currently exists as paved parking. And then if we get to the point of doing the trailhead and the trail, there would be an additional 30 paved parking spots with 2 of those being ADA.
And I guess I'll conclude with this. Warm Meadow Spring is very dear to my heart, but it also seems to be neglected. So the reason why we're talking about this carve-out is to make it more appealing, to make it more utilized for the families, like a little boutique shop or even a playground, most importantly for the families to enjoy outside of the park. So I'm in support of option B. I would not be in support of anything more than 15 acres. That being said, 2 of those acres would be part of the 15 acres. I don't want to encroach on anything else, and not to commercialize or not to do anything crazy. Just let it stay as it is. Just improve or lightly develop 15 acres. That's my take on it, because we have to make it more attractive. We have to utilize that land that partially, if you look on the map, it's a lot of those 15 acres already is just mowed and cleared already. So that's where I stand. I'm in support of option B, option that it is only 15 acres. Thank you.
If I may, Director Ray has the calculations that you were asking for.
54?
Now, this is planner math, so it's quick and dirty, but this is why we're not engineers. So we would be looking at, once you take out on that 15 acres, you take out approximately 30% for stormwater, parking, open space, those types of things. That would leave us for the footprint of a building of over 98,000 square feet for a building. That's one story. If you went up, then you would have additional square footage. But that's to give you an idea of size. 98,000 square feet is roughly 2/3 the size of Costco in Welland Park. That would leave you with approximately 360,000 square feet, which is over 8 acres for a botanical garden or anything else that you might want to use that land for. But you'd have an almost 100,000 square foot space for a 100,000 square foot building, one story, and you could go up higher if you wanted to.
Thank you.
Max height is a good question, but I don't have off the top of my head.
I think it depends on which zone it's in as well, because there's 2 different zones in that acreage.
It is zone 7. This is 7, this is 7A. So we would have to look, but 100,000 square feet, it's a pretty massive building. So we could get pretty much anything we wanted. It doesn't have to be one building. It could be multiple as well. So hopefully that's helpful.
If I can also add the botanical garden, depending on what that includes, that can be in the conservation easement. There's nothing that says that it can't, depending on what it looks like. Or it could be part on the exclusion area and flowing into the conservation easement. But let me, if you don't mind, I'd like to give Christine Johnson with Big Waters Land Trust an opportunity to speak.
I have a few comments to make, and then of course I'll be here for any questions you may have. I am Christine Johnson. I am the president of Big Waters Land Trust. So thank you for bringing this back forward. We hope that the City Commission will direct staff to begin drafting the legal document known as the conservation easement. As you heard, what you are voting on tonight is just the terms. We haven't even gotten to the point where we are creating the legal document. The community has spoken overwhelmingly in support of conserving this public open space. We've negotiated in good faith for almost 2 years to get to this point, responding to every City Commission request. And CHNEP has awarded funds to remove the invasives. Gulf Coast Community Foundation has pledged funds to manage the invasives for 3 years and fund Big Waters Land Trust conservation easement stewardship fee that would normally be on the landowner. So we've addressed all of your concerns over the last 2 years just to get to this point, and we still have to work on the legal document. Leaving 15 acres out of the conservation easement means you have the same size land as Selby Gardens to develop in any way you or a future commission wants. Even with 2 acres of the 15 being used for a trailhead, which also includes a parking lot that would also serve any future commercial development. Selby Gardens property includes a 5-story parking garage, a restaurant, an historical home, a gift shop, a cafe, about 10,000 square foot rental facility called Michael's on the Bay, as well as multiple acres for flex lawn, for rentals, for people to put up tents to rent to the facility, as well as other acres for just the botanical gardens themselves. It is a massive amount of land. Placing a conservation easement on Warm Mineral Springs will give certainty to potential commercial investors that this property will always remain as public open space and be an economic driver. So again, we've been negotiating in good faith. Please direct staff to proceed to the next step, drafting the conservation easement, and our preference of course, with 15 acres taken out of the conservation easement to leave plenty of room for future commercial space or anything else that a future commission would want. So thank you.
Commissioner Duvall.
Thank you, Mayor. Listening to Director Ray, standard lot in the city of Northport is 0.23 acres, 80 by 125. That's 10,000 square feet. So that 0.23 acres, let's just call it a quarter acre. So for each acre, we've got 4 of those 10,000 square foot plots. Multiply that by 15, you come out with 600,000 square feet. I would think you'd be able to fit whatever building you want in something that size. Now, as far as, I've got to give a pushback here, Vice Mayor Langdon has said like, well, maybe we can compromise, between the 15 and the 20 and go 17. We started at 12 and then it was raised to 20. The 15, if you start at 20 and go to 12 and you meet in the middle, you come to 16, I believe. And 15 is really close to that. The 15 already is a compromise. Thank you.
Commissioner Stokes.
Thank you, Commissioner, because you crystallized, I had a question about what that extra 2 acres would mean in terms of square footage, and it's de minimis. I'm good with 15. What brings it home for me, it's very hard sometimes to envision what you can put on, when you're talking square footage or you're talking acreage and what you could build. I've been to Selby Gardens dozens of times. I love Selby Gardens. if you look at that footprint and we had a footprint like that, I would say there's probably nothing that I could think of we would want to do that we couldn't fit. So I'm good with that. I also don't want to encroach on those areas that we're a little bit concerned about. I appreciate that. And, you know, again, at this point, I am committed to this conservation easement. I do not see this Springs as an economic juggernaut, but I do see it as a huge attraction. And when you look at all the unincorporated land surrounding the 82 acres, that is where Northport, come the day, will reap the benefit. This needs to be preserved. This needs to be protected. And most of all, it needs to get done. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, see nothing else. City Clerk, public comment?
We do have some. I'll start with the e-comment. Juno Enoch. I support the original 60-acre conservation easement with no new exceptions. Anything less than this is not appropriate for the site or the community needs. And in person, we have Tim Doyle.
Mr. Mayor.
Can it wait till after public comment, sir?
Yes, as long as you.
Since we've already started it?
Right.
And then I'll circle back to you. Go ahead, sir.
I think the parking lot at 12,000 square feet is too small. I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you how many acres, what you're supposed to do with it. Because I think I've been there 4 times in the 20 years I've been in town. So there's a lot of people passionate about the project, and I think you need to talk to those people and figure out what they want to do. My 2 cents on this is I had something to do when the old man in the mountain fell off the mountain up in New Hampshire. We sponsored and we took donations to redo it. And I had to go all to those meetings. And boy, oh boy, were people passionate on each side. And what came down the street, they bought things in the room. They wanted to put up one of those big movie theaters. What do they call them? With the round thing on it? I don't know what. They wanted to put everything there. From what I'm listening to, from comments and people saying, I don't think they want that. If you want to put a size of a Costco building next to that, you're going to kill that place. And you ever see the parking lot at Costco? How big's the parking lot at Costco? So I'm not going to tell you guys what to do or not to do because it's not my cup of tea. But the problem here is you got a lot of people very passionate and you need to listen to them. And you can't just throw everything in the kitchen sink on that property because you think it should be there. A restaurant, that's all this stuff, and a 10,000 square foot, 100,000 square foot building, forget about it. You're going to kill it. You want to put a couple small things, I'll let them make that decision. And, the land around it is kind of what makes it nice. If they're sitting around the lake and you start seeing high-rise buildings, I don't think people go down there to see that. So I'd be real careful on what you bring into that area and what you build. And I do think the parking lot's too small, especially if you're bringing a trailhead. A trailhead parking usually isn't very big. I've gone to plenty of mountains, plenty of trailheads. And you know what I see at trailhead parking down the street? Everybody's parked on the side of the road because there's not enough parking. So I think 100,000 square foot building is ridiculous to put up there at the, but that's my 2 cents. Let the people say what they want to say, but I would not build no 100,000 square foot building there.
Christine Johnson. John Baxton.
You can go right there, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, members of the commission, Mr. Mayor. John Paxton, I'm here on behalf of the Gulf Coast Community Foundation, and I had the comments prepared to speak, but listening to the conversation, I'm going to trash most of them. I've been in sales long enough. Don't oversell. When you get to the point where you need to be, shut up and hand the client the pen. But I would like to say I'm real excited tonight. I mean, you all know my enthusiasm for this spring. It's been a part of my life since very young childhood. and the prospects of once and forever preserving this remarkable 10,000 plus year old public access asset for generations to come is just beyond. It just gives me goosebumps. But I do want to address two concerns that I heard here this evening. And first off, Commissioner, had to do with the sale of the land. You're not selling any of the land at all. You're giving a conservation easement. It's important to Big Waters Land Trust, it's important to Gulf Coast Community Foundation that this land always have the Northport City brand. This is your property, this is your asset, and we want to build these assets both economically, architecturally, so that it benefits the community into the future. And in terms of the Florida Scrub Jay, I am an accredited Florida Scrub Jay expert, as many of you know. I've spent my adult life studying, researching, and cataloging the Florida Scrub Jay in Southwest Florida. And this conservation easement does not require you to restore Scrub Jay habitat, but rather it requires you to just simply maintain the habitats free of these exotic species. If Florida Scrub Jays decide to move back into some of these areas that you have stewarded, then so be it. But it does not burden the city with any of these expensive restoration things that the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Officer had talked about. And then the last thing that I wanted to add is I've been a part of many park decisions over the last 45 years in Sarasota. This is one of my favorites because this is going to give this commission, the five of you seated here, the opportunity to be remembered by your great-grandchildren's grandchildren as the commission that once and forever preserved this remarkable asset for generations to come. So thank you for your discussion. Gulf Coast Community Foundation believes in this project. We're bringing money to the table. We've heard your concerns. We got the grant from, I still call it the CHNEP, the Charlotte Harbor National Estuary Program. I know it's got a new name now. But we're going to bring money for subsequent years to make sure that the city is not burdened with that. And then finally, we are going to fund the stewardship fund to relieve the city of that financial obligation as well.
Thank you for not overselling it, Mr. Thanks. City manager, I promised I would circle back to you, sir.
Sorry,
we had more?
We have a couple more, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Robin San Vicente.
Okay, back again. Again, you're all forgetting about the 2019 master plan. That was fully vetted. That's not even up here for you to look at and compare what is being suggested as a carve-out. Additionally, you saw the citizenry and the passion behind that and the surveys that were done. And you supported the 2019 master plan. And it seems like you're continuing to carve into Warm Mineral Springs, and I'm continuing to hear about commercial entities that don't belong anywhere on that property. That carve-out area was specifically designed for the parking lot, an event and a market area with food trucks and so forth, and an expansion for the trailhead. I'm so tired of hearing about a 98,000 square foot building or any kind of building. It doesn't belong there. It wasn't vetted. It's not in the 2019 master plan. Stop looking to put buildings on that property. You're going to piss off a lot of citizens and you're going to hear from them. You've got additional areas for that particular type of work, all up Ortiz. You got 5-6 parcels that are available to put buildings on. You've got renovations in this building that's going to support holistic care and health services. I don't understand why you continue to want to put buildings on this property. Again, you're going to have to rezone for this carve-out anyway, because it doesn't coincide again with what's going to be. So put all your buildings up on Ortiz and stop trying to carve out areas and put buildings and buildings and buildings and commercial entities on this property. You can have your Selby Gardens, it fits right in with the conservation. Not buildings, when you already have building renovations under plans. Additionally, as far as the protected species, like John says, they're on the move because of the fragmentation that's going on within our developments and then within our state. We've had from Oscar Shear moving to Deer Prairie Creek. We once had a population of scrub jays at Warm Mineral Springs when I was there. So they can come back because of the fragmentation. And the conservation area for Warm Mineral Springs is just another stepping stone between Deer Prairie Creek and whatever is behind the preserve. You gotta stop messing with what's not supposed to be messed with. It's a huge ecotourism site. Stop trying to commercialize it. There's plenty of money to be made with ecotourism without putting buildings after buildings. Go up the street where it belongs, not on that property. Again, you're gonna piss off a whole lot of people and you're gonna regret it.
Chuck England.
I'm going to be very brief. I totally agree with Mr. Thaxton. I totally agree with what Robin's trying to say. I'd also like one more thing. Stop kicking the can down the road. Right? All right? Oh, and one thing I'd add, I think the best place for a botanical garden would be around the springs itself, creating a buffer. 2019 plan. Thank you very much. You have a blessed evening. I got to get out of this chair.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
City Manager, back to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make sure that John Thaxton had a chance to speak, and he has done that.
He has done that, sir, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'll request a motion.
I would like to make it.
By all means, Commissioner.
I move to approve the revised general terms and parcel map option, Bravo, that's B, to facilitate development of a conservation easement between the city of Northport and Big Waters Land Trust Incorporated for a portion of the Warm Mineral Springs Park property located at 12,200 San Servando Avenue, Northport, Florida, 34287.
Second.
Have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Duval to approve the revised general terms and parcel map option B to facilitate development of a conservation easement, between the city of Northport and Big Waters Land Trust Incorporated for a portion of the Warm Mineral Springs Park property located at 12,200 San Servando Avenue, Northport, Florida, 34287. That was made by Commissioner Duval, seconded by Vice Mayor Langdon. There's nothing to that. Please vote. And that passes 5-0. All right. Yeah, we're gonna take a 10-minute break.
And we actually have a lifeguard positioned in our catch pool over there to help our guests that are coming out of the slides at a Barracuda tarpon twister.
I've seen that person there. Then Jesse brought up something that most people might not think about, pool skimming.
Pool skimming is the sounds of the water being properly flowed. So with those drains, all the water has to constantly filter throughout our pool at least 3 to 4 times a day. So not only is the water continuously being pumped in, continuously flowing out, being cleansed through our sand filters, then being pumped back into the pool. It's a very long process, but it makes sure that the water stays as clear as possible.
Then Jesse taught me about the zones.
It helps maintain that their body of water is theirs to protect anybody that's in their zone.
Right.
So lifeguard Brandon right now is actually scanning red 1 zone. So red 1 zone is here, any part of this body of water that reaches, let's say, all the way from those stairs to the bulkhead and to the side of the corner. This entire zone is his right now. To make sure that they are staying healthy and hydrated, we do have a 30-minute rotation here for all of our lifeguards, and lifeguards are not meant to bypass more than 1 hour of continuous lifeguarding. So after every hour, the lifeguards must take either a visual break or an actual break.
After Jesse's walkthrough, I met up with Matt, one of the pool technicians responsible for keeping the water clean and safe every single day. He started by showing me how they test the water across the park.
We got comp pool, lazy river, kids pool.
Each sample is dropped in a small disc and loaded into a device, and in just seconds, it gives a full readout on the pool's chemistry.
And before this little machine was created, this was more of a manual model.
Yeah, we a lot of people will use tailored tests, so it involves like little different chemicals. You would fill up a container and drop them in like a certain amount, and then basically it'll calculate from there what your pH and chlorine is.
And this is the daily task?
Yeah, this is what we do at the start of every day.
Inside the control room, he fired up the valves that get the entire water park up and running.
When we have everything going, the water level will be back up. But since we're not running everything in the moment, it'll drop it down a couple inches.
Next, he showed me the daily checklist for the park.
Then we have our chemical data sheets. So basically just making sure like that our comp pool, lazy river, kids pool are all where they need to be, anywhere between 2 parts per million or 10 parts. And then pH is somewhere between 7.2 and 7.8 for a healthy pool.
There you go. Then came the backwashing and wasting process, flushing the filters to keep the water flowing freely or removing excess water from the system to keep the water levels balanced.
And then it'll start coming out in this pit. Oh. So this whole pit will fill in about 3 minutes.
Really, over there?
Yep.
Next, we changed out one of the strainer baskets, which helped catch large debris before it can reach the pumps.
I'll trace you that one. Thank you. Then new one goes in just like that. And we usually let those dry out. I'll clean them later this week.
Before joining the team in Northport, Matt worked as a lifeguard in Charlotte County under Trish Sturgis, our Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation.
So I've known Trish a very long time, so that definitely was one of the influences of wanting to come work at the Aquatic Center. Had me go out for an AFO course recently, which is Aquatic Facility Operator course. Basically anything and everything relating to a facility like water chemistry, safety, rules, this and that. So I went there, I just passed that class, so it's a little bit of knowledge under my belt. It was definitely useful.
Well, Matt, we're grateful for your time and your experience and all you put into your career here. And congratulations on your certification, and you do an amazing job.
I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you for joining me today at the Northport Aquatic Center. It's a great facility. I want to thank Director Sandy Funheller, Assistant Director Trish Sturgis. I have learned so much amazing things today. I would like to say that the technical expertise that goes to keep the water safe as well as the people safe is an amazing combination. See you on the next job. Thanks for being here.
Hey, City of Northport. My name's Sandra Boudreau. I am with AECOM, and I'm representing the City of Northport on this glorious Price Boulevard project. We are here on Price Boulevard at the Blue Ridge Waterway, in which we are building the box culvert. As we've talked in the past, we're doing a double barrel box culvert here, and we are currently pouring the second wall of the structure. That wall's got to cure, the concrete has to cure, and then we can strip form. So it does take some time for the walls to cure and then for us to start building the top. After that, we're going to build the earthwork and then the roadway. So at this point, we are currently early on in the process. If you want further updates, you're going to go to the Price Boulevard webpage.
Hello, I'm Jerome Fletcher, City Manager of Northport. I'm on the job with the Solid Waste Division of Public Works. Let's go.
jumping home.
Oh, I love the duck. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That got passed down through a few co-workers, and then now it's ended up in this truck. So I was like, I wanted to keep it. So.
Well, maybe it's for the two-time driver of the year. How about that?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you only been here for 2 years, right?
2.5 now, so.
Right.
Recognition is nice, but what he really values is the simplicity of the work. Meet Cole Sigley, a solid waste driver for the city of Northport.
You can put me on the same truck and same route, leave me alone for 30 years, and it'll be done. You don't have to worry about it.
Right. It's very low stress. Let me do my job.
Yep.
I'll do it right. Come back tomorrow.
Yep. And then you go on to your next route, and then you just keep doing that, and then eventually the weekend comes. You enjoy the weekend, and get right back to it.
Right. That's how life should be.
It's a career he planned for early on, right after high school.
I went and got my CDL after I graduated high school, and my goal is to get here eventually. So.
All right.
So
sound like a man with a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate everything you guys do.
He even shared a little bit about where he grew up, far from the Florida heat.
Because we're from West Virginia.
Okay, what part of West Virginia?
So it's north central, so like Clarksburg. It's about 40 minutes from Morgantown, which is where the university and the schools are and all that stuff.
I've been to Wheeling, West Virginia a couple times.
That's
up in the mountains.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, driving up those streets when the streets are like really narrow, and you gotta wind up those. I was like, oh my! And I was young. I was like 23.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is gonna be a problem.
There are some of those mountain roads where it's just, we like to call them kiss your butt turns, where you're sneaking through, and then you got to do that in the winter when it's icy on the roads.
I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it.
Now I'll take this over that up there.
Any day.
And when the talk turns to hobbies, the trucks don't stop at work. In his spare time, it's all about monster trucks and RC cars.
Nice little basketball court right there. My son would like that outside of our house.
Oh yeah.
That's nice.
Great place to run your little RC trucks too.
Right. Oh yeah.
I got a bunch of those. I like.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh man, do you have the gas powered ones?
I have the electric. I don't have the gas powered. I've seen them.
I just want like the ones that go fast. I mean, it can be electric or gas, but how fast can yours go?
I have a couple that can go 40 plus.
Oh yeah.
So they're the brushless motors. So
do you go race them somewhere, like on a track?
No, I just race around my yard. They're monster trucks, so you just take those things anywhere.
And they can jump over anything.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I rip them through the sand, the grass, I hit big jumps with them. I break them more than I do plate with them. You take a big jump, you're like, all right, let's do this, and then you land it, and it's like, boom, it's done. You just broke the wheel off.
But when the workday starts, the focus shifts to keeping the city running smoothly. Every collection has a plan, and behind the scenes, people like Mario Venditti, planner and scheduler for the city, help make sure it all runs like clockwork.
So basically, I will check them one by one.
Right. Do you really?
Oh yeah, I'll get out at every one and I'll check. I might take a section and do like 3 or 4 streets.
Right.
Okay,
but for the entire city?
Yeah. So here we have...
Back to our regularly scheduled program. Ordinance number 2026-11. City Clerk, can you read by title only, please?
An ordinance of the City of Northport, Florida, amending the Unified Land Development Code to consolidate the revenue account formerly known as the Tree Fund into the Environmental Protection Fund by amending Section 6.1.3, providing for findings, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. City Manager, this is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the City Commission regular meeting held on May 5th, 2026, the City Commission approved a motion 4-1 to approve this ordinance on first reading and continue the second reading on May 19th, 2026. We ask that you approve today ordinance number 2026-11 as presented. We're happy to answer any questions. Thank you, sir.
Vice Mayor Langdon.
I have 2 very quick questions, and just to refresh my memory, the money that goes into this fund was the money from the clear cutting of trees that originally went into the tree fund. And we were generating so much money, we wanted to expand the uses, so that's why we're here today. My question is twofold. Do any other sources of revenue go into the Environmental Protection Fund?
Yes, Vice Mayor.
And what are they?
In addition to the tree mitigation fees,
the plan review and inspection fees for the Natural Resources Division staff, for environmental arborists, endangered species also go into those funds.
Beautiful, thank you. And one final question, what percentage of that money, I remember in one of our previous meetings, we talked about a certain amount of that fund being allocated specifically for tree replanting. Can you refresh my memory what that number was or percentage was?
There was no percentage allocated specifically for planting of trees versus other environmental uses. However, this commission does approve all of the Natural Resources Division initiatives, including tree planting projects, land acquisition projects, et cetera, through the budget process.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I'm done, Mayor.
Commissioner Petro.
I just want to address this and to clarify some misunderstanding. I was called out by a few residents that we are raiding the tree fund, and the intended use of the tree fund is going to be no longer viable, and so on and on. So the new ULDC that was voted prior to my election, that the new ULDC that was adopted in 2024 already expanded Environmental Protection Fund that technically absorbed the tree fund into itself, allowing and designating these four things, which is acquisition and ongoing maintenance of environmentally sensitive land. If anything, it's much better use of this tree fund than it was. Acquisition of land for sustainability projects, planting trees in public places and maintaining trees to protect health and safety on public lands in the city. Tree education, planting, and conservation programs. So technically, we only doing a title change, if you will. Am I correct?
Correct. The intent with the adoption of the 2024 ULDC was to merge the tree fund into the Environmental Protection Fund. And as it happens, we did submit a legal request regarding the use of the tree funds under the Environmental Protection Fund. And the commentary from the City Attorney's Office was that although the phrase land acquisition is not carried through specifically in the old ULDC, I'm paraphrasing, the list in Section B of the old code is permissive. It says the funds use of the funds may include, not shall include, may include. And so the City Attorney's Office concluded that the previously collected money in the tree fund could be combined with and used as part of the new ULDC Environmental Protection Fund, because it's hard to imagine that a use could qualify for approval under the new ULDC Section 6.1.3 that would not involve at least some trees. Nevertheless, they recommended the most legally sound approach was to amend the ULDC to specifically and explicitly clarify the intent of the Environmental Protection Fund merging the tree funds into it.
Okay, thank you. That was very informative. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Duval.
Thank you, Mayor. On first reading, I voted against this. I'm still going to vote against it. At two separate meetings, I've asked how many trees were planted by the city. And both times I've been told, we don't have those numbers available. Do you have those numbers now?
I do not have those numbers tonight, sir, but I can tell you that the Natural Resources Division was created in late December of 2023. And since then, we have built the division and are undergoing procurement for a number of tree planting projects and initiatives. And the procurement process here in the city of Northport does take a substantial amount of time. So you should be, within the near future, seeing many social media posts and sharing of these tree planting and rewilding projects that the Natural Resources Division will be initiating soon. We're getting close to the end of the procurement process for some of those projects, and we'll see some planting coming in the near future. We also have donated trees last year at Arbor Day, and this year at Arbor Day, 100 trees this year. And we will be repeating that initiative on a quarterly basis.
Now, at the last meeting, you brought up the comprehensive plan. I had asked a question, and you said it's in the comprehensive plan. I got into the comprehensive plan, and on page 5-7, I want to read something that's written there. Tree protection ordinance in its amended pre-2007 form also included fines for violations. Developers who do not or cannot save trees on building sites are also required to pay fees into a reforestation trust fund, quotation marks, tree fund, close quotation. The EAR recommended that the city must do more to ensure that these funds are reserved for tree protection / reforestation only. And now what I'm seeing is we've created a environmental division, and I'm not saying there's anything bad about that, but now we want to get rid of the tree fund completely. We've taken a good share of that money, and now tree fund's going away. And our comprehensive plan has the words, our reserve funds are reserved for tree protection, reforestation only. I cannot support this. Thank you.
Commissioner Stokes.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Each year, we have the ability, I mean, with this fiscal budget, I know we approved 2.5 million of this to be set aside for the acquisition of environmentally sensitive land. I believe Natural Resources talked about a number of about 500 plus trees, which while haven't been planted yet, were in their plan for probably what'll be partially in this fiscal, but more so in next fiscal year. So am I correct in that every year as we budget, commission will be in a position to make those decisions and allocate and actually give direction on the spending of some of those dollars to trees or environmentally sensitive land purchases?
That is correct.
Okay, so it's not, so again, to highlight what Commissioner Petrov said, because I think he was looking for that clarity from the standpoint of the community so everyone could understand. This is a name change. This is a consolidation of the tree fund into the environmental fund, but all its uses are the same, the rules are the same. The commission still has total authority on how we spend it and where we spend it, right?
Correct. Through the budget process, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Petrov.
Maybe since it's a discussion time and that's the only time we can discuss this, specifically this item, maybe we can call on the city attorney so he can explain us what actually is changing. Because under my impression, it was brought up by the finance, and we have that money sitting, but we can't use it to acquire environmentally sensitive land. And that's important that we do it with that fund, with those money. And this is, again, just like Commissioner Stokes said, it's a name change. But if the city attorney can clarify what exactly this ordinance is changing for the sake of understanding to average citizen, that would be very helpful.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's exactly what you said, and as Commissioner Stokes said, it is a name change. The tree, what was formerly known as the tree fund, was in your old land development code, which no longer exists when in 2024, when the prior commission adopted the Unified Development Land Development Code. That's no longer here anymore. What's in place is what's known as the Environmental Protection Fund. That's been what it can be used for, the same things that you spoke with here, which include planting trees, but also acquiring, maintaining environmentally sensitive land, and as well as supporting the Environmental Resources Division, as the Assistant Director said. So those are all the things that, so all we're really doing is a procedural change to make sure that it's clear in the law that what used to be the tree fund, which no longer exists because we no longer have those ordinances, is now in the Environmental Protection Fund.
And this is just a cleanup of a law because the old ULDC is gone and no longer is applicable.
That's correct. It is not a substantive change in the law.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yes.
City Clerk, public comment.
Tim Doyle.
I think it is to clean up, like you guys were saying. The one question you said you can use it on land for, sensitive areas. You're buying that lot for $23,000 because it goes to a sensitive area for flooding and stuff. So I don't know if you can use any of that money to buy that lot. Plant some trees on it. The other thing is, the one thing I'm going to say about a tree fund is this city is being developed, and you guys are all talking about the last thing, cutting down more trees. So where are you going to plant all these trees? Eventually, you're going to run out of space to plant them. So, I mean, I don't know. Sort of like global warming. Some of it doesn't make sense. And you got a lot of invasive species. I'd like to see some of that money go to cut down some of these trees, pine trees that aren't from native, that during a hurricane cause so many problems. And then maybe use some of that money to plant a tree in that area where you cut down those trees that will be more conducive to the climate down here. They won't cause problems during a hurricane. So again, I don't know the ins and outs of the law or these organizations you're trying to move around money to, but those sounds like some good things that could be done for it. And you guys are all talking about that road going from Toledo Blade, sending it east. That's an environmental sensitive area. You could buy that with that money. Use some of that money to build bridges and other ways for the animals. I see that all over the country. You plant trees. More people can see more wildlife. Go for a walk, go for a jog in the wildlife with the trees. So I don't know, you're charging everybody to take down trees on their property, but I don't know where you're planting them. I think that was a good question, how many trees you're planting. But my question is where you're planting them. You only own so much property. I don't know if you can go on private property and plant this stuff, but somehow I don't think that's right. So if you have less and less land and more trees, your forest is going to be full soon. Then what do you do with the money? So I don't know. You do what you want on it, but maybe we should stop collecting money for people cutting down trees on their own property.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, I'm going to close this public hearing and request a motion.
I'll make it.
Go ahead.
I move to adopt ordinance number 2026-11 as presented.
Second. I have a motion on the floor made by Vice Mayor to adopt ordinance number 2026-11 as presented. That was seconded by Commissioner Stokes. There's nothing to that. Please vote. And that passes 4-1 with Commissioner Duval dissenting for reasons stated, sir.
That's correct, sir.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance number 2026-13. Request a motion to direct the city clerk to read by title only.
So moved.
Second. Have a motion on the floor made by Vice Mayor to direct the city clerk to read by title only. That was seconded by Commissioner Stokes. If there's nothing to that, please vote. And that passes 5-0. City Clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Northport, Florida, amending the Code of the City of Northport, Florida, Appendix A, City Fee Schedule, amending Parks and Recreation, general fees and facility rental fees, providing for findings, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, City Manager. This is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the City Commission workshop on March 2nd, 2026, the Commission discussed agenda item 26-0404, discussion of possible direction regarding the establishment of a reduced rental rate for Northport Senior Center Incorporated to utilize the George Moreland Center. At the conclusion of the discussion, the Commission made the following consensus: to direct the City Manager to create a flat rental rate of $200 per month for up to 120 hours of monthly facility use, mirroring the rent payment identified in the current lease agreement between the City of Northport and the Northport Senior Center Incorporated. The recommended fees have been incorporated into the amended Appendix A City Fee Schedule. We ask that you continue ordinance number 2026-13 to second reading on June 9th, 2026 as presented. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, a quick question and a comment. The comment is, I think a lot of people will be delighted to see that we reinstituted the annual pass for Warm Mineral Springs. I'm anticipating at some point in the future we can see numbers on how many people have purchased what types of passes. Is that a reasonable expectation? I'm seeing nodding.
Yes,
so okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. City Clerk, public comment?
Tim Doyle.
Seems like you're taking care of some nonprofits, I agree with that. I wonder if you're telling these people in these buildings that they're being surveilled. Is that in your lease agreement or your rental agreement so you can spy on them while they're in the building? I wonder how many people in that 600 and something thousand number were at these events with your geofence spying on people. How many people were at the senior thing? How many of the 640,000? Wonder how the seniors feel about being spied on. I hope none of the fees that are being paid for these rooms and facilities are going to continue to go to companies that spy on people. You're not getting enough fees for these places to pay for what they're getting. We've all talked, well, you guys all talked about it. I was in the room, I heard it. So we're cutting them a break. We got to look at where we're spending the money so we can keep on doing these things for these general fees, keep them reasonable. You're going to have to start to look at what you have to cut. I think you should cut the $5,000 out with your geofences. I'm not going to let this go. We're worse than China. I'm sorry. And these people don't even know what they're doing. They don't know you're doing this. I didn't know you were doing it until I came to the meeting. Parks are supposed to be for the public. They shouldn't be spy centers around them. I don't agree with it at all. And maybe if you had that $5,000, you could maybe give them a better price. Maybe do some of the renovations to the buildings you guys all been talking about. Keep the fees low. Why should we keep giving our money to these technological companies? All day long I've heard you guys argue about what's online. I'm not online. I never had a Facebook account in my life. There's one in my name, someone made it up. I don't even own a computer. You know why? They're the root of all evil. They're going to be death and destruction of our society.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to close this public hearing and request a motion.
I'll make it.
Go ahead.
I move to continue ordinance number 2026-13 to second reading on June 9th, 2026.
I have a motion made by Commissioner Stokes to continue ordinance number 2026-13 to second reading on June 9th, 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
And that was seconded by Vice Mayor. If there's nothing to that, please vote. And that passes 5-0. Moving on to ordinance number 2026-16. I request a motion to direct the city clerk to read by title only.
So move.
I have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Stokes to direct the city clerk to read by title only.
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor. There's nothing to that. Please vote. That passes 5-0. City clerk.
An ordinance of the City of Northport, Florida related to city solid waste services, amending Chapter 62 and Chapter 66 of the Code of the City of Northport, Florida, providing for findings, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. City Manager, this is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The proposed ordinance amends the solid waste district code to align the code with current and proposed operating procedures. At present, several code provisions do not fully reflect how solid waste services are administered in practice, which can create uncertainty for staff and customers and make the code more difficult to apply consistently. This ordinance is needed to clarify the governing rules, update procedural language, and support uniform administration of residential and commercial solid waste services. We recommend that you continue ordinance number 2026-16 to the second reading on July 21st, 2026 as presented. Thank you.
Okay, commissioners. City clerk, public comment.
Tim Doyle.
Seems like a lot of this is dealing with the commercial side, not so much residential. Now, I ran businesses, so I had trash at about 100 locations. And trash can be the biggest problem in the world. Now, you have something in there that they can own their own compactor, or they have to get certain dumpsters from you. Sometimes when I found when I own my own dumpster is people charge me twice as much to come get my garbage. That was to make me get rid of my dumpster and rent theirs. But I'm glad to see that you let people own their own dumpster or compactor. I just didn't really know what you're charging the people who paying for that trash. Are you charging by the yard? Are you charging by the weight? There is a big difference between a dumpster and a container. 10, 15 yard or 5 yard. That's why the mob used to run all the garbage in this country. They still do. Waste management is, to me, still mafia. So, you know, I don't know what the fees should be. I have no idea. I don't know what the tipping fees are. Where you guys go dump it. From what I understand, it's Port Charlotte. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Their dump. It's not a Sarasota County dump, is it? I guess Sarasota doesn't want any garbage in its county. If I'm correct that they go to Port Charlotte. And again, I could be wrong on that, but I remember hearing that pass. I don't know how often you have to switch out your dumpster, buy new ones. I hope you do the same type of thing you do with the police guns and trade them in, mint them down, just don't throw them in the garbage. And I do appreciate the garbage service I get. They do a great job. I will say that. If one department I never had a problem with in this city is the garbage department. So I appreciate the hard work of the people that work there. And I'll leave it at that.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to close this public hearing and request a motion.
I'll make it, if I can find it. Here we go. I move to continue ordinance 2026-16 to second reading on June 9th, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Stokes to continue ordinance number 2026-16, second reading on June 9th, 2026. That was seconded by Vice Mayor. If there's nothing to that, please vote. And that passes 4-1 with Commissioner Petro dissenting. Commissioner Petro?
Yes, I voted no because it does include vacant lots, and that vacant lots can be assessed capital component assessment on the district. So I'm not in favor of taxing vacant lots, commercial owners, for the service they're not receiving. And that is line 84 in the ordinance.
Is that it, sir?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to resolution number 2026-R-25. City Clerk, can you read by title only, please?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Northport, Florida, repealing and replacing resolution number 2007-R-36, granting authority to the Director of Parks and Recreation Department or his or her designee for the recruitment and payment of athletic officials, adopting an independent contractor fee agreement, adopting a fee schedule and pay invoice for independent contractor athletic officials, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, sir. City Manager, this is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the City Commission regular meeting held on October 9th, 2007, the City Commission adopted resolution number 07-R36, authorizing the Parks and Recreation Department to recruit and compensate athletic officials and to establish the city's official fee schedule for these payments. Since that time, staff has reviewed compensation levels across comparable jurisdictions, school districts, and athletic associations. Analysis indicates that several of the city's current rates are below prevailing standards, making it increasingly difficult to recruit and retain qualified officials. To address current challenges in recruiting and retaining qualified officials, staff has prepared an updated resolution along with Exhibit A, an independent contractor fee agreement, and Exhibit B, a fee schedule and pay invoice to adjust officiating fees to align with current expectations and ensure the city remains competitive in the regional market. Today, we ask that you approve resolution number 2026-R25 as presented. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Duval.
Thank you, Mayor. As the city manager just explained, the year was 2007, and that's when the fees were set. Basically, this is what we pay the referees for games in the city and stuff. They haven't had a raise since 2007. During my agenda briefing, we talked this over, and this is expected to cost the city about $5,000. This is 2026. I'm sure that anybody would appreciate a raise after 19 years, I believe. I support this.
I see no one else. City Clerk, public comment.
Tim Doyle.
Front page of your book. There's an official or someone sitting down here. They need to be paid. You guys say it's gonna cost $5,000? I know where you can get $5,000 from. Get rid of that geo fence. Like I said earlier, I support this. I don't support the $5,000 going to tech companies for no reason whatsoever. Tell me 600 and some thousand people went to a park or an event. This is the future of the town. Kids learn a lot on the playing fields, how to get along, right from wrong. They also learn curse words, but usually from the adults in the stadium or the stands screaming. So like I said, I support it. You need to have good officials. People will know what their jobs. If you don't pay enough, you're gonna get the bottom of the barrel like you guys are talking about a little bit. No doubt about that. So again, you know, you spent some nice money on the book, and I appreciate it. I'm not being facetious at all. I love this. This is what I like seeing my money spent on. Same way with this ordinance, giving them a raise. Make sure the young lady on the cover gets her balls and strikes called right. I think you guys need to work on the balls and strikes in this room a little bit, because I think you're way off on some of the stuff you're doing. And you'll never see me online criticizing any of you, because I'm not online. I'll do it right here at this podium. Or actually a lecture. It's not a podium, you're on the podium. So $5,000, guys, that's what's gonna cost us. Hope you can find the $5,000. I'm telling you where you can get the $5,000, cancel that contract. Put that $5,000 back in the Parks Department. Because these tech companies don't deserve the money. They are destroying this nation. Just look what was said in this room on the comments. So give them the $5,000 raise, I agree with it. But you know where the money should come from.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to close this public hearing and request a motion.
I'll make it.
Go ahead.
Move to adopt resolution 2026-R-25 as presented.
I have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Stokes to adopt resolution number 2026-R-25 as presented. That was seconded by Commissioner Duval. Nothing to that. Please vote. That passes 5-0. Moving on to resolution 2026-R-31. City Clerk, can you read by title only, please?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Northport, Florida, terminating portions of utility grant of easements in sections 28, 29, 32, and 33, Township 39 South, Range 21 East, located in Sarasota County, Florida, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for partial termination and release of easements, providing for filing of documents, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. City Manager, this is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Commission approved the new easements for the plat of Central Park Phase 3 on September 9th, 2025, and the current request is to terminate only those portions of the legacy easements that fall within the plat area without affecting easements shown on the approved plat. The draft partial termination of grant of easements defines the leased property as all land described on the plat of Central Park Phase 3, recorded in Plat Book 59, pages 294 through 305, Public Records of Sarasota County. Prior record instruments show that the city used substantially the same approach for Central Park 1 in February 2024 under resolution number 2024-R09 and Central Park Phase 2 in January 2025 under resolution number 2025-R12, releasing only the portions of the same legacy easements located within each respective released property while preserving the easements shown on the new plats. Today we ask that you approve resolution number 2026-R31 as presented, and we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you, sir.
You, Commissioner Duval.
Thank you, Mayor. Basically, to simplify this, as it was explained to me in my agenda briefing, Sable Trace, old piping, Central Park, new piping, changing the easements just to cover the new piping. I support this.
I see no one else. City Clerk, public comment.
Tim Doyle.
Way to change this policy.
Easements. That's what we're talking about here. I just hope if you're gonna, change any easement grant or whatever, make sure everybody knows what you're doing and who has the legal right to go on that easement. And sometimes in the city, people tell people they can go on other people's property because there's an easement. But in reality, you can't go on someone else's property. Only the person who has that easement can go on that property. So if you have to replace, like he said, some pipes and stuff, that's fine. I was once told by someone in this town that they would give me a week notice if they ever came on my easements. They were gonna do work. So if you're changing the pipes, I want to make sure you give them a week notice, because that's what I was told. And other people told people they could come on my easement and on my property anytime they wanted, even after a no trespass order. Some people don't like being harassed. That was pure harassment on your part. At least 20 people in this city told them they could do that to me and protected them afterwards. That's fact, Jack. You guys know it. So this easement, I don't know where it is. I just know what an easement is. And I know who has the rights to go on it. And not some cracker jack. And you know what I found out? I just took a gun course. That guy should have been charged with a felony. He had a weapon in his hand. If you trespass with a weapon, it's a felony in Florida. I never knew that. You let him walk. I hope the people who owns these property where you have easements don't have to go through what I went through.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to close this public hearing and request a motion.
I'll make it.
Go ahead.
I move to adopt resolution number 2026-R-31 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor made by Vice Mayor to adopt resolution number 2026-R-31 as presented. That was seconded by Commissioner Stokes. Nothing to that. Please vote. That passes 5-0. Moving on to resolution 2026-R-35. City Clerk, can you read by title only, please?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Northport, Florida, authorizing a corrective deed in the conveyance of ±63 acres of real property located in northeast quarter of Section 3, Township 40 South, Range 20 East, bearing Sarasota County Property Appraiser Parcel Identification Number 0797001100 as previously adopted through resolution number 2025-R-21, providing for filing of documents, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. City Manager, this is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the City Commission regular meeting held on April 8th of 2025, the City Commission adopted resolution number 2025-R21, accepting conveyance of certain real property from West Villages, LLP, and authorizing the conveyance of approximately 63 acres of real property to an affiliate of the West Villages. On May 14, 2025, the warranty deed conveying the 63 acres of real property was recorded in the official records of Sarasota County. A deficiency in that deed has since been identified regarding compliance with Section 270.11 of Florida statutes. The proposed resolution will amend the recorded deed to release any reserved statutory rights and ensure the conveyance satisfies the obligations of both the city and Wellens Park under the restated agreement. We ask today that you approve resolution number 2026-R35 as presented. Thank you, sir.
Nothing from Commissioners. City Clerk, public comment.
Tim Doyle.
Deeds are important. They tell you who owns the property. You gotta make sure deeds are correct. So if you have to fix the deed, you have to fix the deed. You know what happens if a deed's wrong? I might not have a right to go on my own property. And down here in Florida, doesn't matter whose deed's on your name's on the deed. I think you realize that. So if something was done wrong with the deed, I think you should correct it first thing in the morning. Because it's not fair to the person whose name or whatever problem with the deed is. Should be taken care of first thing in the morning. And I'll leave it at that.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to close this public hearing and request a motion.
I'll make it. Move to adopt resolution number 2026-R-35 as presented.
Second.
I I have a motion on the floor to adopt resolution number 2026-R-35 as presented, made by Commissioner Stokes, seconded by Commissioner Duval. If there's nothing to that, please vote. And that passes 5-0. Moving on to resolution 2026-R-36. City Clerk, can you read by title only, please?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Northport, Florida, accepting a non-exclusive permanent access utility easement and an exclusive permanent lift station easement located on a portion of the parcel lying in Section 10, Township 40 South, Range 20 East, Sarasota County, Florida, Sarasota County Property Appraiser Parcel Identification Number 08110-0002, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for filing of documents, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing effective date.
Thank you. City Manager, this is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welland Park High School is located within Village K of Welland Park. The Village K plat was recorded prior to the installation of infrastructure necessary to serve the high school. Now that this infrastructure has been completed and placed into service, the associated easements are required to provide the Utilities Department with access to the lift station and other facilities within the easement area for ongoing operation, maintenance, and repair. Section 3 of the 2019 amended and restated utilities agreement specifically requires the developer to convey these easements to the City of Northport to ensure ongoing operation and maintenance. And we ask that you approve resolution number 2026-R36 and as written, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. See nothing from the commissioners. City Clerk, public comment.
Tim Doyle.
Another easement. Who has the right to go on an easement? I understand why you need the easement to get to what you gotta fix. When easements are made, they're pretty specific at who can use them. Sometimes in this city, people try to abuse it. When the house was building next to me, they said they had an easement, so they cut down trees on my lot next to me. But the only problem was they were 25 feet off the property line. Nowhere near any easement. I was threatened with jail when I said something for interfering with government. You know why they cut it down? They wanted more sunlight for their lot. And one of your employees, and it was not the police department, threatened me with arrest because I told someone to get off my property with a chainsaw. Under the class I just took, he was trespassing with a chainsaw. I would consider that a deadly weapon. Should have been a felony. Instead, they tried to lock me up. And again, no police were involved. It was someone else who thought they were God. So make sure you guys know what easements are and who's allowed on them. And if someone is trespassing with a shovel, a pick, chainsaw, those are all deadly weapons. And if they're trespassing, that's a felony.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to close this public hearing and request a motion.
I'll make it.
Go ahead.
Move to adopt resolution number 2026-R-36 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Stokes to adopt resolution number 2026-R-36 as presented. That was seconded by Vice Mayor. There is nothing to that. Please vote. That passes 5-0. Moving on to discussion and possible action to rescind the motion made during the City Commission regular meeting on May 5th, 2026 regarding agenda item number 26-0611 directing the city manager to explore event sponsorship opportunities and/or a sponsorship program. Mr. Powell, this is your item.
On May 5th, 2026, the Commission reviewed and acted upon a recommendation from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. The Commission directed the city manager to explore event sponsorship opportunities and/or sponsorship program. Following the Commission meeting, Parks and Recreation staff contacted the city clerk to advise that during the same meeting, Commission approved resolution number 2026 R-10, amending and restating the citywide sponsorship policy for city events, activities, programs, and designated public spaces. Due to the approval of said resolution, the action given under agenda item number 26-0611 was already completed and not necessary.
Thank you, sir. Seeing nothing from the commission, public comment. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Duval, you're a little slow there, sir.
Sorry about that, Mayor.
Just teasing, just teasing.
Basically, oops, we lost track.
Yeah.
Somebody once said, you know, if you make a mistake, own up to it. We made a mistake. Let's do this.
All right, thank you, sir. City Clerk, public comment.
Tim Doyle.
I really don't know what you're voting on this one, but Parks Department's gonna need some funding. And to me, this is a good way to get some money without the taxpayers having to pay for it. Brings people together too. I remember when I was in Little League, the local pizza shop sponsored our team. You know what happened after the games? They invited us down for free pizza. Some people don't have money for pizza. Not only did he pay for the uniforms, but he fed the kids. So, to me, this is a no-brainer. You should be doing it.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to request a motion.
I'll make it.
Go ahead.
I move to rescind the motion made during the City Commission regular meeting on May 5th, 2026, regarding agenda item number 26-0611, directing the city manager to explore event sponsorship opportunities and/or a sponsorship program.
I have a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Duval to rescind the motion made during the City Commission regular meeting on May 5th, 2026 regarding agenda item number 26-0611, directing the city manager to explore event sponsorship opportunities and/or a sponsorship program. That was made by Commissioner Duval. Do I have a second? Two. Seconded by Commissioner Stokes. There's nothing to that. Please vote. That passes 5-0. City Clerk, final public comment, please.
Tim Doyle.
This paper I received through the Freedom of Information Act was redacted. Either that or you gave me a fake paper. Because it says everybody's initial is supposed to be signed on the bottom, and it looks like it was blacked out. It's not blacked out, it was just covered up. I don't know why you would hide who signed this paper. But obviously it's been hidden from me. Now, why does this bother me? You guys are all communists. You say you have a modern police department? You got brown shirts. That's what you have with these cameras. No one will know what a brown shirt is today because they're not educated. My brother was run over and killed by a car. None of these cameras would have saved his life. Don't tell me you're doing this in safety. You're doing it for spying. There's no doubt about it. These cameras have to go. And I'm prepared to file a lawsuit on it. Because this isn't about blood. This is about a computer watching me everywhere I go and write my own biography. Because that's what's happening in this country, whether you know it or not. And it has to stop somewhere. All you people online talking back and forth, getting in trouble, no one likes this, no one likes that. That's the world you created, not me. I'm so far removed from it, it's not funny. Even when I go out, I leave my phone at home because I know it's spying on me, even when it's off. Even when your phone's off, they know exactly where you are. Because that internal battery just keeps on running. Keeps sending a signal for your geofencing. I don't think people understand this. But this isn't the last you heard about these cameras from me. These cameras didn't help me when you put a gun to my head and arrested me, did it? On a false accusation. So these cameras wouldn't have done anything for me. And I can show you case law where this has been ruled unconstitutional. And I'm probably going to show it to you. Because on the news, they're all talking about China. China hears, baby. Stalin, Mao, Hitler. They're rolling over in their graves with what you guys are getting away with. They wish they could do what you guys do.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, moving on to commission communications, Commissioner Duval.
Thank you, Mayor. Yesterday, I attended the MPO meeting in Sarasota, and there was a presentation given on the Breeze transportation. And I gave the opportunity for Commissioner Stokes to let them know that sections of Northport, especially the section, anybody who lives north of I-75 in the city of Northport cannot use Breeze on demand, even though they pay for it and they pay taxes. I spoke to the lady who gave the presentation after the meeting, and she told me that basically the MPO gives sections, just a certain amount of money, and that's it. And apparently they consider that over 75, that would cost too much, even though people pay for that service. So I think we should all make an effort to let our county commissioners, I did speak to one of them yesterday, Mr. Smith, that our citizens deserve to be served also. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stokes.
All righty, I'll look real quick.
Thank you.
The Salvation, not that one. Ended the Salvation Army ribbon cutting, budget eat and greet, the Northport PD Do the Right Thing annual recognition dinner, which is always a treat.
Audio there, sunshine.
Whoops.
Excuse me, should I start over?
No, go ahead.
All right. Attended the ribbon cutting at King Plastics for the YMCA Early Learning. Attended the County EDC Economic Outlook breakfast, which was interesting to say the least. And I also attended this past Saturday night the Chambers Night at the Races, which is their big event, big fundraising event. So it was a pretty full week, and it's always good getting out there and engaging with all the other things that go on other than our commission meetings that affect our city. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I attended the Do the Right Thing banquet. That's always one of my favorites. I mean, just to see the kids getting recognized and their families there in a banquet setting, it's heartwarming. I also attended the Night at the Races with the Chamber. That was a very fun event. Got to see a lot of people, and everybody enjoyed themselves. I don't think we won one race. I think we donated most of the evening, so, I mean, it went to a good cause. But most importantly, I want to give a sincere and heartfelt thank you to City Manager and staff for working with me and working with the citizens and the veterans to try and make the two ceremonies on Friday cohesive and be able to work. And unfortunately, today we received confirmation that the VA clinic is postponing theirs. So for the valiant attempt, I thank you very much, sir, and make sure staff knows how appreciative I and quite a few of the veterans in the community are. So thank you so very much, and we'll see you Friday for our grand opening of the Circle of Honor. So 11 o'clock still, sir?
Yes, sir.
We're not switching back? No, I'm just teasing.
You're not.
Okay. Vice Mayor, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone who's interested in my activities, I always post them to my Commissioner Facebook page. So I would simply point you to that location. Thank you.
Commissioner Petro.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended Economic Development Corporation Outlook breakfast. It was very informative. I also did go to the King's Plastics groundbreaking, not ribbon cutting, groundbreaking of the YMCA Kindergarten Academy. It was very enlightening and talked to many people, few people. It was good to see the progress in our community.
Is that it, sir? Deputy City Clerk, you got anything for us?
No, sir.
City Attorney?
Nothing, Mayor.
How about you, City Manager?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. It's 8:40 and we are done.
Contamination, our first tote.
Right.
We have yard waste, which does not belong in there.
Right.
And we're going to end up tagging this, and they're not going to collect it because of that.
Okay. But as I'm familiar